It's a special edition of Gist Nigeria today, and I am on the streets of Lagos. Coming up, Nigeria at 60. We have a conversation with 3 young professionals proffering solutions to challenges in security, energy, and health. It's a special edition of Gist Nigeria brought to you by the BBC and Channels TV. I am Wale Fakile. It's another Independence Day celebration in Nigeria. Congratulations to us. It all started here 60 years ago at the Tafawa Balewa Square, formerly known as the Racecourse, when Nigeria celebrated its independence and the lowering of the Union Jack. But 60 years down the line, a lot has been said about how the country's potential has still not been maximized. So, how can the country's youthful population proffer new solutions to existing challenges? Well, I'll be having a conversation with 3 young professionals who are making a difference in their various sectors. Come along. Meet Ogunmola Bolaji, a Nigerian army veteran passionate about intelligence-based research. Having spent 19 years in the military, he has served in the Northeast and the Niger Delta, playing a key role in intelligence gathering. He is currently a private security contractor and an intelligence associate. Also, meet Dr. Lola Odedere, a healthcare manager with experience in both public and private medical organizations spanning general medical care, emergency healthcare, non-profit and health financing. She's keen on improving healthcare delivery in Nigeria and easy access to quality healthcare in Africa. And finally, meet Tolu Olukokun, an engineer on a mission to speed up Africa's shift to renewable energy and sustainable transport. He is currently harvesting and recycling used batteries for affordable energy and lighting for different homes. I'm sitting down with the 3 of them to discuss solutions to some of the problems crippling Nigeria's health, security, and energy sectors at the heart of the country's economy. Thank you very much, Bolaji, Dr. Lola, and Tolu. Let me start with you, Dr. Lola, ladies first. So, in your opinion, how did we get here as a nation with a poorly funded healthcare system?
I think that when we started, we had the right idea, but we have not been able to diffuse the idea to people. Look at the fact that just under 5% of Nigerians are currently on health insurance, and the over, 90% people are not covered. They have to pay out of pocket for healthcare. And then consider the fact that the healthcare budget allocation is supposed to be 15%, and we're currently doing less than 5% in our healthcare budget. So it's no wonder then that you're finding gaps.
Fantastic. Let me come to you, Bolaji. Obviously, for you to effectively do your work, you would need security.
Of course.
So one of the primary functions of the government is the provision of security, and 60 years down the line, it seems that we're still battling with some of these challenges. What, in your opinion, do you think is responsible? Why are we here?
If you look at the crime square, what these bad guys, the criminals, the unauthorized personnel take advantage of is just your laxity and make it an opportunity for them to do whatever they want to do. So, in other words, lack of security education has created an opportunity for those bad guys to come. And they have been maximizing the opportunity. So it's now left for us to close the gap by sensitizing people. I've just told you the problem, and I just told you the solution. The second reason is because we, in our ways, so many of us, most of us as Nigerians, have left security to certain people. I'm a doctor, I'm not a soldier, I'm not a police, nothing concerns me with security. I'm a driver, I don't have business with security. I'm an engineer, I don't have a business with security. That's what most Nigerians are always saying. Thereby also creating a gap for those bad guys, being an opportunity for them to perpetrate.
All right, let me come to you, Tolu. So electricity is also a form of security. So what can we do as a nation to provide solutions to some of these challenges in this sector?
Quite a lot. I think Electric Africa, we've been able to research and develop quite a lot of this. We've worked on biogas during the COVID period and the cheapest way of making one. And we actually made for homes as a proof of concept. So we can take it from there and make it a mass production, because biogas in this nation is not at the level it should be. We are pushing for clean energy and clean environment. generally. Then other forms of renewable energy. I wrote an article last year about achieving SDG 7 and in Africa generally. And one of the things is that most vulnerable villages, where all these places where crimes are, and all of that, they are close to streams because most of them doesn't have a good well, and there are technological advancement and innovations on generating electricity from these, little flowing streams. We have all these small hydro generator that you can just put in and charge your batteries, charge your phones, and all of that. And I believe when we electrify all of these places with all these little innovations, security will be very well enabled. Health as well will be enabled in the sense that everywhere right now we are going to telemedicine, and you cannot do without telecommunication. When you want to practice telemedicine, okay, just dial a code, USSD code. I'm sick. It's malaria. Someone may attend to you through all of that. You see, the whole world is becoming a one global village with technology and all that we have. But the issue is that we are not harnessing it here. And that's a huge problem. And that's why security is becoming a major issue, and health will continue to be very expensive. So it won't matter whether we are bringing insurance scheme and all of that. Put energy in place and everything will align.
If we don't solve our energy, electricity challenges, then it means that security would still be a problem. There will still be problems, for the health sector.
Yes, Wale, everything will become a problem. Sincerely yours, because security will become so expensive as well as health. And you don't want to spend too much on all of these things.
I agree with you to an extent in the sense that you can transfer what you can get from energy, into healthcare.
Yeah.
So look at biogas.
Yeah.
Biogas can power, health centers.
Yeah.
There are health centers, especially in the rural communities, that are not, very functional, that may have to, have deliveries in the dark, because there's no light. There's no form of generating plant to form light. And sometimes people use torchlight to even perform surgeries. So if we have, generators that are powered by biogas, so to say, and look at vehicles, ambulances, ambulances are expensive. To get an ambulance, it will take you close to 30 to 50 million just to get one, and import it from outside. Now, if we can have vehicles, even look at tricycles and modify them and have, biogas or some form of sustainable energy powering them, that can also help in, getting people access from one place to the other.
Unfortunately, an average Nigerian has taken his health to his hand. Unfortunately, an average Nigerian has also taken whichever way he's generating or distributing his power to his hand. We have also we're also trying to take our security into our hand. But on the contrary, it's creating more problems. It's creating more problems.
So what should we be doing differently right now?
Very simple, which is where I'm going. From our immediate environment, assuming we all live in an estate, what most people do nowadays is that I just come in, get into my house, I go out. You don't even know the next person to you. That's where security is beginning to breach. I need to know the person to me and the next person to me. I don't need to know everything she does in the house. I don't need to know all the rooms or what happens in the room. But I need to have an idea of what the person is, because if I don't have an idea of what she is or what our environment is next to me, that environment will pose threats to me. Think of an environment where your own house is well fortified and everything is in place, but the next house to you is actually where these bad guys are harboring.
I see what you're saying. So yes, I think that there's going to have to be a lot of community collaboration, community participation in both security, in matters of healthcare, in matters of power. And then looking at the community starts from the immediate environment, with you. So we have communities of people in estates living together. We have communities of people in schools together. We have community of people in healthcare in workplaces together. So yes, we can provide in terms of security, a form of community security for them. We can also provide a form of community healthcare for them, in the sense that an association of schools has, healthcare provided solely for them, providing healthcare education. There can even be technology comes into play, right? And then you have maybe an app or maybe a form of website, where there is a learning app or learning tool on healthcare education. You can have, a community in an estate community have healthcare. Have healthcare directly to them in their houses. You have people that you can call a doctor. Let's even start from where we are. I can have a number for you to call. If something happens in this community, this is the number to call. We'll bring an ambulance for you, or this number to call. We send a doctor to you. This is what happened. We send a lab technician to you to take tests and all of that.
See.
And same goes for power.
So for all these sectors you have mentioned, energy is your blood, and you need to make it available. There's no substitute for blood in the hospital.
Tolu, let me butt in here.
There are a few substitutes.
Ultimately, these sectors are interwoven. And,
Definitely.
For us to have a viable nation, I think all these sectors need to be up and running.
Yes.
So let's talk about energy right now.
Right.
How do we ensure that you mentioned abundance of electricity or abundance of power?
Yeah.
How do we get to that stage when we start having enough electricity to power our homes, to power what she would use to perform a surgery? I mean, to help him while is ensuring that everyone is safe.
Yeah, thank you. You see, innovation is a key thing. We have to innovate. We have to bring innovation into whatever we are doing. We cannot be living years ago and still think everything will be in place. Number one is that when we ensure local production of whatever we want, it will become cheaper, because cost is a fundamental thing, is what drives this sector a lot. So people say, okay, all of these alternatives are expensive and all of that, but if we are producing it locally, it will be cheaper. That's one. Two is that we need to encourage microgrid and mini grid. Generating electricity from a central location is not sustainable for 200 million people. That is why most of our generating plants are underperforming, are underused. And again, look at the massive transmission system that must be put in place. And there's no maintenance culture. So at a point in time, they discovered that energy being built is different from energy being generated. That means there is a loss in transmission. So in order to cut off all these huge transmissions, we need to encourage microgrids, mini grids, so that, okay, this state produce your own energy, okay, give, and all over the world, name it, renewable energy are heavily subsidized. You give rebate, you want to buy electric vehicle, the government will pay certain amount of money for it, you bring the rest. You want to have renewable energy and all of that. And again, when we have all of these things in place, we must ensure a grid system whereby whatever we are generating that is in excess is given back to the grid. We feed it to the grid. We are working on certain things. It's not a new thing, vehicle to grid, because we realize that if you are riding electric vehicle, what you are sitting under is a massive storage system that could store either solar energy or energy from the grid or wherever source you are getting it from. So you drive. In the evening, you come back and plug your vehicle to your house and you are powered. So all of these things will work seamlessly if we begin to, if we become innovative about it. But our policymakers are really not looking into that direction, thinking that oil and gas is the pulse of our economy. But the truth is that how much of this oil that we are mining we are consuming locally. So we are exporting them, and most of these countries we are exporting them to are saying we are moving to renewable energy. We are moving to sustainable energy. So where will you sell it to? So at the end of the day, you discover that you are stocked. So it becomes a stranded asset.
You're still watching Gist Nigeria from the BBC and Channels TV. We have been having a conversation with three professionals from three important sectors of the economy. That's energy, the health sector, and security. It's been an interesting conversation. Tolu, Dr. Lola, and Bolaji. So now let's talk about the solutions to some of the challenges that were identified before we went on the break. Let me start with you, Bolaji. I mean, Tolu talked about policymakers not doing the right thing. As a young person, what should we be doing in the security sector to ensure that we are all safe?
Let me say this very clearly. Of course, I wasn't in the police. I'm not canvassing for them, but that's the truth. A lot of Nigerians do not like Nigerian police. And the policemen have the mindset of, now only when trouble come on, they come here. Let's bridge that gap. You miss your ID card, you get a police report. Your car is snatched, you get a police report. You get some good job, you get a police report. You want to do some transactions in the bank, you get a police report. So which means our life is centered around these people. Can we just embrace them and continue to have a more peaceful environment?
In other words, you want me to have a relationship first with police people before I could get any protection from them, anything done with them?
Because they are your first responder in your immediate environment.
Let's look at the health sector now. What should we be doing in terms of personnel, in terms of the health facilities, in terms of funding? What should we be doing differently as a young person? You know, what should we be doing to address some of these challenges in the health sector?
The best thing for young people to start doing is to adopt problems to solve. It's all well and good if you on your own, if you're looking at, I just want to be seeing a patient, you know, one-on-one. But the problems are a little bit more than that. It's fine, you can solve the problem of that patient right there and then, but there are systemic problems that need to be addressed. You know, look at the fact that in emergency cases, people do not, literally know next to nothing to do, right? And there are things that you can do before you get the patient to the hospital, right? How are we teaching the layman, you know, first aid procedures, how to do CPR? These are things that you should naturally know so that you can save a life next to you. It doesn't have to be a doctor that would come and do it. Currently, the patient-to-doctor ratio in Nigeria, doctor-to-patient ratio is about 1 to 2005, thereabouts. You want to give one person the burden of 2,500 people to attend to? He can't, or she can't. You know, it's not sustainable. So can we start shifting the task, you know, sort of to say, how do we get laymen to understand simple things, basic things that can be done in their own space? Can you start even shifting within the healthcare space? Some things that doctors are doing, nurses can do. So some of these things, you want to empower nurses, you know, to start doing them so that the doctor can face, you know, probably more complicated cases and they can handle that very effectively. We talked about maybe creating small cars. You know, I don't know what Innocent is doing about that, to just create cars or something that can convey people in terms of in the event of an emergency. But if you already even trained people in your community to do CPR, they can accompany the person, you know, to the hospital and something. Of course, awareness, teaching people, health education. Those are things that we can start to do. Think beyond yourself.
I think what you just said, we need to educate the security personnel as well.
Exactly.
Because, you see, most people have tried to help in the past that became a problem to them from the security aspect.
Thank you very much.
Someone
there's the Good Samaritan law.
So you know, all of that, and they say, oh, you are the one that killed this person. And
exactly.
That's why many people stay back.
And that's a policy issue. That's a policy issue. If you have something like a Good Samaritan law in place, right, that allows, you know, people to perform and give care to someone in distress.
We've dwelt a lot on the security sector and also health. How do we restructure energy in Nigeria to ensure we all have electricity? What is the way forward?
If we transition to renewable energy, there will be a lot of job opportunities for people. We fund research, we fund development in order to have all of these things in place. Then we'll be doing ourselves a favor. We'll have job. There will be jobs provision, there will be security, there will be health, and everything will align. Now, we should look at providing some basic amenities like power for people in remote areas, in villages. So we don't start having inflow of people into urban centers. So when we're talking about renewable energy, where we should be looking at mostly to impact more is villages, remote places where they can feel the benefit of being in an urban center.
I think technology would cut across all sectors.
Definitely.
Like if you use technology, you know, to facilitate the projects that you're doing. Instead of limiting it to just, one person or one-to-one, you can make it something that it can be a platform for others to build upon. Definitely. But one of the things that I feel also can drive solutions in Nigeria regarding our sectors is data. We do not have enough data, and if you have adequate data, you can better position and tailor your solutions. Then you can decide how many people need this, how many people are doing this, who need this. Take healthcare, for example. For you to go to the hospital or access healthcare, you should have your patient history transferable, right? I should be able to go to a different hospital today and have my previous history from wherever hospital I've been in be able to be transferred to that place so that they know all my history. Not just asking me. If you're asking me, I probably will not tell you everything. Nigerians are also very private. But if you're transferring the information, the doctor or the healthcare professional seeing can make a holistic decision. And then we can use the decisions that we have to drive solutions. So if you take security now, what you're doing, is it data driven, right? Can you say what the numbers are? From these numbers, you can decide how to tailor your solutions. Your next project can now say, from the last project that we did, this is the number we're able to get. For this particular set of people, can we retarget them to say, this is the next training we have for you? What about the people that we have not reached? How many are they? What is the funding that we require to capture all of these people, right? How do we target it?
I actually think we have data, but we don't have a database. So, and for the security, I think data is very, very important. So we need to know how many people are coming into the country, how many people are moving into one state or the other, and all of this. Technology can enhance all of this. So that is why I want, most importantly, passionately, the security sector to reform itself and do something tangible for us. Sincerely yours.
Final thoughts now, Bolaji. A lot has been said about the security sector, which seems to be one of the primary concern of both Tolu and Dr.
I'm happy they're so concerned about myself.
Final thoughts. Final thoughts from you now.
Finally.
You made us though.
Reacting to what they said about data reforms.
Yeah. Talking about data, we have data. Talking about database, we have database.
No. I disagree.
See, an average Nigerian man, and everybody in Nigeria knows whatever the problem is with Nigeria. But we also agree implementation is always a problem. Implementation in the sense that you want to do this and some certain people want to be part of it, some certain people does not want to be part of it. I mean the interest and the non-interest group. You also want to consider those who see themselves above the law. We all know all these things, okay? Let's put all those aside. Talking about way forward. Way forward in terms of security, at this point, I would say, don't see it as my thing, see it as our thing, a collective thing. At this point, in the health sector, in the energy sector, from the media sector, which you also are, each and every one of us should have basic security education. A very good, important security education you should leave here with today is maintain a low profile. I watch people's picture on Facebook, on Instagram, and you can tell what the trend of their lives are.
Most of those
Trust
things are
me,
really
if
fake,
I were an armed robber, I would just be waiting in a bar, knowing fully well he will come there. And behold, he will come.
Thank you very much, guys, for an interesting and interactive session. We've been talking to Bolaji, Dr. Lola, and Tolu, looking at 3 critical sectors in Nigeria: energy, security, and healthcare, and proffering new solutions to the existing problems in this sector. Thank you very much, guys, for talking to us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Let us know your thoughts on Nigeria's independence journey after 60 years on Twitter at Just Nigeria TV. You can also keep up with us at bbc.com/Africa and channelstv.com. That has been our package today. Thanks for your time. I am Wale Fakile. See you next week.